Shalom, shalom, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Pulse of Israel here in our eternal and ancestral homeland, the land of Israel, in our eternal, beautiful, biblical, and indivisible capital, Jerusalem, since King David's time. Today, you are in for a special treat to hear a very interesting story. I don't even know all the details of the story, but when I met Selena, I'm like, Selena, we got to talk. We need more people hearing this story. And Selena's going to tell us basically how her position on understanding the reality of the Middle East and Israel with our Arab Muslim neighbors totally changed. So I'm not going to get, I think that was enough of a hint, and then we'll get into it. So Selena, welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much for making yourself available and for sharing your story with us. So why don't you start with who you are, when you came to Israel, why you're in Israel, and what change took place for you?
Thank you very much for having me, first of all. I live in Tel Aviv, and I wanted to say that when I came here like 10 years ago, I had a very pink view over the world, and I was very positive. I thought all people are kind, they're good, I thought that everyone has in their mind peace and coexistence, and let's all be happy together. And I wanted to discover this in the world of our neighbors. Go behind the wall, break the barriers, engage with them, and see how these people think. Because in the media, it's more often than not portrayed like everything is bad. You only see the bad news on TV. So I wanted to discover from myself and by myself what's the reality. Talking to people, going to see them, engage with them, have coffee with them. So I started making a lot of Arab friends inside Israel and in Judea and Samaria. I traveled actually in Judea and Samaria quite a lot of times.
To areas under the Palestinian Authority, correct?
Exactly.
Which is not always so safe for open Jews to be, but you didn't have a problem.
I didn't have a problem. I can say I was lucky. I found the right people that I trusted at the time, and I still do. I think they're amazing people. And basically, I had my life in their hands to take me and show me their side. And I was very much engaged into their narrative. And because there's a lot of dramatization and emotion, and I get it, it's legit, it's their view and their point of view over the situation. It's fine. Right. It's also according to their government, to their leadership, to their religious indoctrination in mosques, on the streets, from the family, from various terrorist organizations. So it's okay, but I wanted to hear. I was willing to listen and learn, because that's the only way that how you can have a proper debate and how you can have arguments and everything, listening to the other side. So I started traveling there a lot and getting to know various people there, and it was all good, and I was very much believing into their story until I realized that there's a very big discrepancy into their mindset and our mindset. What you see in the media here, when anything bad happens in the territories, let's say, the Israel, the Jewish stance is always pro-peace, pro-coexistence. Let's see how we can do this. Let's see how we can solve that. It's always for, in a positive way. And you never see that on the other side. You never see it. It's always coming from a negative perspective and heading to a negative future. And even if you try to explain, to talk, to engage, to see how it's for them, it's black or white. It can only be their way or the highway. And it took years, it took years. It didn't change right away. It's every stuff that happened every day, small things. And
you're talking about your mindset didn't change right away.
Yeah, it didn't change right away. It took years. And yeah, basically going over there and engaging with our neighbors, with the Arabs, it turned me from a leftist into a right wing, more like center right wing, let's say. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's nice, and I'm happy that I came to this conclusion and to this way how I see things today by engaging with the people, not from the media, not from my friends, not from any other sources. And yeah, I consider that at the moment, if you ask me about peace and coexistence, I think with the current leadership and with the current mindset of the people there, of the majority, okay, of course there's exceptions, is hardly reachable.
Peace is not reachable.
Not at the moment. It's
say
that, and
you're saying because of their leadership, or because of even the mindset of the people, of the regular people in the street?
Well, no, the leadership gives the mindset to the people, and we have the best example in the UAE, in Saudi Arabia now. The leadership has a lot of influence on the people, and the problem is in the territories, like the Palestinian Authority is basically non-existent. Like, where is Abbas? When was the last time we saw an interview with him? Something like him showing up and giving a direction to the people. Nothing. It's it's the people without a leader, basically, and with very bad influences from all sides. So. Yeah.
So let me ask you. So what? I mean, again, you told me you were going to parties in Ramallah. Like you were literally partying and friends with these people. What?
It was only one party.
Oh, one party in Ramallah. Okay. Otherwise, you were hanging with these people, having coffee with them. What were they saying, or what did you see that made you start changing your mind about peace and coexistence with them to saying, "Oh my God, they don't want peace and coexistence with me"?
Yeah. So. At the beginning, the people I started engaging with were people that were working in various peace organizations here in Israel.
Arabs from Judea and Samaria working in peace organizations.
Here, yeah, they were collaborating with various organizations, working, so they were like having access also to enter Israel proper. And I said, okay, it's people that want peace. That's amazing. It's a very good start. I know it's the easy way, to engage with people that already are like on our side a bit.
Right.
But it's a start. And slowly, when you get to know them, that's why I wanted to go and see them and meet them in their own environment, because that's when people open up. So when they start getting comfortable with you, they switch from this pro-peace approach to basically a very narrow-minded vision that is like the Palestinian, what they call Palestinian narrative. And it's basically the same thing that the people that hate us and they say Israel doesn't have the right to exist have, just masked. And I'm not sure why. Maybe they're like enjoying the benefits that this pro-Israel activism gives them.
They're being on the peace movements, talking, right? Dialogue.
Certain liberty, certain connections, certain benefits. I'm not saying that's the reason. I assume maybe, because when you dig a bit down deep and you see that they still believe the same as all the other people, then you're wondering why. Why are they doing this? What's the reason for it?
Wow. So basically, what you're saying is you saw how, again, you connected with the people who were part of the dialogue, the coexistence peace dialogue. But then when you really got to know them and in their own habitat, and they got comfortable with you, they basically took the mask off their faces, no longer talking about coexistence and looking forward to dialogue with the Jewish people to live peacefully, but the Jewish people have no right to their own state.
I wouldn't take it so far, like to that extent, but I think it comes, like their approach, it comes from a lot of bitterness and a lot of negativity and a lot of maybe bad things that happen in the area, and it's not because of their fault, because they're not engaging in any like violence or terrorism or anything, but they are like casualties
of the situation.
Yes.
Did you hear them even giving support for terrorist activities against Jews?
No, no, it's out of the question. No, it's just a negative approach and focusing only on the bad things and saying like, well, you're the bad guys, you're doing this, you're doing that. But no, not to that extent.
So what made you change? Like, I mean, I'm just playing devil's advocate with you. Like, I could see you being in that situation, again, the peace, dialogue, kumbaya mindset, right? Because I think that's where you were, exactly. Right? And then, like, being disappointed in that, oh, they're not really as peace-loving kumbaya as me, but okay, they're disgruntled, they have their narrative, they're being told this, so but no, I'll continue, and I continue thinking that we can have peace with them. What made you make that decision to, wait a second, no, like, it really is a mask, and it's not really true, the dialogue and peace talks that were taking place beforehand?
Because it happens systematically with a lot of people, and if it happens with a person, you say, okay, maybe that person is like that, but when it happens like to 2, 3, 4, 5, and I met actually, back in the days, there were like some peace events bringing Arabs from Ramallah, from, I think even from Jenin, I don't remember, it was many years ago, to Tel Aviv, for meeting with Jewish people, engaging in talks, having something to eat. We're also having like speeches and everything there. It was very lovely. And they were coming, actually. These people were coming. It was incredible. They were coming all the way from here, and like it's a very long way and a very difficult passing through the checkpoints, and they were doing quite a lot of efforts to come to Tel Aviv. And they were there, and everything was amazing, and we were engaging with them, and it was, I don't know how to explain. When we were there, it was like a bubble of happiness, of normality, like just people being people, engaging with one another. And the moment the event was finished and we were going each to their own homes, it was like it never happened. I tried to stay in touch actually with some of the women that I met there. But it's hard because in every conflict, I must tell you, in every conflict that we have here, whenever like we have rocket attacks or something, and I'm posting about it on my social media, I'm losing every time systematically some of these Arab followers. Although I'm not saying...
You're not saying you're anti-Arab.
No, I'm not. Nothing is directed like, oh, Arabs are bad. I'm not saying this. I'm just posting about the conflict. Even now when we had the operation in Jenin, and every time I'm losing people, every time. They're just like, I see they're like, they stop talking to me.
Are some of them messaging you, like trying to continue a dialogue, or saying that's not truly, you don't know the whole story, or let's talk again, or any
when we have
positive? No, like when you're posting things, and like you're mentioning that little by little you're losing followers. Are any of them reaching out to try to continue maintain a dialogue with you?
Arabs that stop following me? No,
not the ones that stop. Those are
no. In general, of course, a lot of people, Jewish and non-Jewish, Israelis, non-Israelis, Arabs, or other nationalities around the world. Yes, they ask, they're curious. Some of them are like, just they know the truth already. And they
got it. The ones who are following you stay and communicating know the truth. Okay.
Huh?
Right.
I was saying no. The ones that like know the truth and they're like, oh, you're bad. Why you're posting this? Why you're doing this?
Oh.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
Got it.
Or the ones that are just curious. And I have actually a lot of people from around the Middle East that are just curious about Israel. Or I have people from Oman, even from Morocco. A guy texted me today and he said he wants to visit Israel. But I must tell you something, a lot of these people, Arabs, I'm talking about Arabs, they're scared to come to Israel. They think they're going to get killed if they come here. I swear, it's so weird to hear people talking like that.
They're totally brainwashed.
It's by the media. They don't think like really we're bad people, because otherwise they wouldn't want to visit us. But they think it's a dangerous country and we might kill them.
Right.
And I'm like,
right.
What?
Yeah.
How did you get to this conclusion? We have people here, like 20% of this country are Arabs.
Right.
And I actually visited Bahrain around a month and a half ago, I think. And I have two very good friends there, both Bahrainis. And they actually came here when we had the Abraham Accords with the peace delegation. It was very nice. And the same, they told me when I met them in Bahrain that the first time they arrived to Israel, they were that scared. What's going to be? What's going to happen to them? Like they see us like Afghanistan. It's insane.
Right. They thought they were evil, and the Jews were taught to kill them.
Yes, exactly. So basically, after I changed my point of view regarding the Arabs here and their mindset here, and I realized, I know it sounds bad, but I realized it's kind of hopeless with the actual leadership that they have and the current situation in the West Bank. I realized it's like peace is basically unattainable at this moment, okay, not forever, So I started focusing more on the Middle East itself and on the Arabs, like in various countries around us. And I think it's easier.
It is.
And it's also good for them to know each other, to know us.
Yeah.
To know us, and especially now that we see this beautiful process of peacemaking in the Middle East between Arab states and Israel. I think it's more important than ever.
Right.
This communication.
And it's very interesting that you bring that up because our video platform for Israel used to be huge. We were getting topping 500,000 video views a day.
Wow.
On our previous website, Israel Video Network. But then we were censored by Facebook and Google, and they destroyed our whole business. We had to start again, and now we're totally censored on social media. Hardly anyone sees our stuff on social media anymore. But the point is, when we were big, we used to get views, like tens of thousands of views from people in Arab Muslim countries. Like not just one, like many. Even Iran, I used to print out the Google stats showing where views were coming from different countries, and every day we had Arab Muslims from Arab Muslim countries all across the Middle East. Fascinating. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist anymore. We're not as big as we used to be. But I used to get emails from some of the viewers, Arabs, saying, thank you so much for showing us the truth about Israel, because we're totally brainwashed. We're told that Israel is evil. We're told the Jews want to kill us. And thank you for showing us the true Israel, and we'd love to come here. We'd love to visit. Yeah. And the other story that I like to use when I talk to groups actually is a personal story that I know that took place at my Shabbat table. And some of my listeners might actually know this story because I've told it before. So those of you who do not know it, now you're going to hear it. At my Shabbat table, we host Israeli soldiers every once in a while as part of a special program of soldiers who are looking to possibly convert to Judaism, because they're not Jewish according to Torah law, so they have the opportunity to learn about Judaism, and if they want to convert, they can convert. And usually today, who are most of the Israeli soldiers looking to possibly convert? They're children of Russians or Ukrainians. So usually going around the table, if it's guys, so it's Maxim, Igor, whatever. So we go around the Shabbat table on Friday night. What's your name? What's your story? So Maxim and Igor, and then the third guy, I think we had 5 guys at the table, the third guy sitting right opposite me, he goes, my name is Mohammed. I'm like, Mohammed? I mean, I know there are some Muslims, a minority, who serve in the Israeli army, but converting? I'm like, Mohammed, where are you from? I'm from Gaza. I'm like, what? I was expecting, okay, he's from the Galil, he's from the Negev, and then he wants to convert. No, he's from Gaza, serving in the Israeli army, looking to convert to Judaism, right? I'm like, okay, Mohammed, what's your story? You got to tell us your story. And he basically said, listen, my father was an employee of the Palestinian Authority in Gaza. And at the time, this was 2006, 2007, there was a Hamas military coup against the Palestinian Authority in 2007. And the Hamas people were killing the Palestinian Authority officials. So his father's life was in danger, and the family's life was in danger. So the father knew that Hamas were trouble for all the Arabs in Gaza, right? So he was secretly helping the IDF with Hamas targets in Gaza. His life became even in more danger, and for the family. So the Jewish state of Israel secretly saved their lives, snuck them into Israel, and gave them Israeli citizenship. So Muhammad said he is the youngest of 4 brothers. All 3 of his brothers and himself all went to serve in the Israeli army and converted to Judaism. And he called me months later, right after he got out of the rabbinate, where he goes, I'm now a Jew. And he was like the happiest moment of his life. So I'm like, that's a fascinating story, but why? So Israel saved your life, but you didn't have to serve in the Israeli army. You didn't have to convert. I said, why did you do that? He goes, you don't understand. My family understood that all our lives we were lied to, because we were taught that the Jews are evil, that you want to kill us. And what do we end up finding out? That it was our Arab Muslim brothers and neighbors who wanted to kill us, and it was the Jews who saved our lives. So as a thank you to the Jewish state of Israel, we want to serve in the Israeli army, and they all served. And because he and his brothers realized that they were lied to by their Muslim upbringing, they wanted to join the Jewish people and become Jewish, to be part of the life of Jews who care more about life. And I said, oh my God, this is a story I tell every group, because that tells the truth about the Middle East that no one's told by the media. No one's told, and our politicians and organizations don't talk about those truths. So that very much connects with what you're saying right now. When Arab Muslims see the truth, and they're able to step out of what they've been brainwashed with, or the hatred they've been brainwashed with, that shows that the potential for a peaceful coexistence in the future. But it's gonna take some time, and again, it has to do with the leadership.
Exactly. Well, first of all, I must say that the story almost brought me to tears. Almost, it's so impressive and so emotional and so inspiring. Wow, wow, what a story!
Yep.
Really.
Yep. And it happened at our Shabbat table, and my kids were there. And it's like, well, this is not like a story I read about. It happened. I know the guy.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
Really unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, and what you said about the leadership, leaders can change, and also here, like in the PA, we
Palestinian Authority.
hope in the Palestinian Authority that the leaders will change soon, and hopefully with some more open-minded and smarter ones that are having as like on the front row the interests of the people, because at the moment there's a stance in the Palestinian Authority against normalization and against helping their own people. Like they're not doing anything for the Arabs there. They're suffering, and they're also preventing the Jews that live in the territories to help them. I know a specific case. Inside of a settlement, there was Palestinians, workers, and the people there, and they didn't have water. Okay, they were coming from the neighboring village to work in the settlement, and in their village they didn't have water. So the settlement said, because these people are working with us and they're so kind and so good, we want to help them and we want to bring water to the village. And the PA came and said no, because this means normalization, and
right.
you shouldn't do it. And in the end, it was basically a foreign power doing something for your own people without you doing nothing, without being involved. And no, just because it's coming from us.
Right. I'll give you another example. The mayor of my town, Efrat, in the Judean Hills, every Sukkot holiday, he invites the neighboring Arab mayors and leaders from the Arab villages around us to come visit and sit together in his sukkah, and they talk and whatever, right? But and sometimes they come, but they always tell him no pictures. Pictures are forbidden, because if the Palestinian Authority would see them sitting together with a Jewish mayor, then their lives would be in danger. And it shows you, even though there are people on the ground who are interested in coexistence, unfortunately, the organization that the United States, the European Union, the United Nations, they all give trillions of dollars to the Palestinian Authority. They do everything against coexistence, and the world doesn't care and continues throwing them money, even though it does nothing to help the people. And that's why, my mantra is, Israel is the solution, not the problem. The problem is the education and the society that's being developed under the Palestinian Authority and Hamas with international funding. If the world would just stop giving all that money and just let Israel do its thing, which is just bringing life and prosperity to everyone interested in enjoying what we're able to do for them, we'd have peaceful coexistence yesterday. But so long as the world gives all this money, that's not going to stop. That's part of the problem. But Israel is the solution.
Yes, that's very true what you said. I cannot argue with that. And I love that you brought this topic up with the people being in danger if they are seen or known to be in touch with Israelis, with Jews. And I must tell you that I've had this so much in this process of engaging with Arabs here and from outside of Israel. I have friends that are Lebanese, Iranian, Iraqi, Bahraini, Omani. I have friends all over the Middle East. Some I met face to face, some only online. And I'm talking about pro-Israel people, okay, that are with us, that support us, that understand the situation. that would love to visit us. Some even did. And they're also always telling me, be careful with the photos, don't post this, don't post that. I had a guy, actually, I was talking to him a few days back from Oman, and I wanted to post a screenshot of our conversation on my story. And without his name, I never put names, I never put usernames. Obviously, I'm protecting their identity, or I asked for permission from before, and he didn't even want me to post that.
Really? Even without anything being identified?
It was the first time, and usually it's like there's no problem, but there's always a stress about it from their side. Even if I don't post their name, they're like a bit scared. They have this ingrained in them, like, no, this must not be public, ever. And I assume, I know so many people from across Middle East that think like this, and they want peace, and they want to visit us, and they want us to be friends, and they want us to engage. So if I know so many, and I'm just one tiny little human with not a big platform, okay, so I imagine there must be like maybe thousands, hundreds of thousands there, maybe millions all across Middle East, without exaggerating.
Right.
But they cannot talk about it.
Right.
So
right, they have to hide it.
Yes.
Otherwise, their lives are in danger.
Yes, and this is what I wanted to continue, like talking about the leadership again. But when a pro-peace or like a good leadership is in place in a certain country, all these people can come to light and they can express their views safely, and then the other ones have to hide. And the other ones, maybe they're going to change their point of view because they're going to have access to the other side.
That's a good point.
So this happened in the UAE. This is happening currently in Saudi Arabia. In Oman, I traveled to Oman a month and a half ago. Also at the same time when I was in Bahrain. And I was told not to say I'm from Israel, that it might be dangerous. And I didn't feel I have to hide it.
Really?
And I actually told almost all the people that I'm from Israel, and the reaction was like, wow, you're the first Israeli we're meeting. That's amazing. I had only positive only positive feedback, and positive experience, and people were excited. And I think the most exciting encounter that I had in Oman, it was with a guy from Nigeria, Muslim. He was like serving in a coffee shop. And he asked me where I'm from, and I said, Israel. And he was like, no way, you're the first Israeli I'm meeting. I can't believe, I'm so happy you told me you're from Israel. Listen, I'm a Muslim. I pray 3 times a day. I'm very religious, but I love the Jewish people. I love Israel. And it's even like...
Goosebumps.
Yes, it was, because it was such a real and raw and positive reaction. It leaves a mark on you.
Right.
So I have a very good people intuition. So sometimes if I feel it's right, I prefer to say I'm from here because it challenges people and it makes them open, and I'm curious to see their reactions actually.
Good for you.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
Yes.
And it's like, I'm not trying to be negative, but the irony of the situation is, like, you are saying so much truth about the positivity of relations that are flourishing, and still, like, in the beginning stages between Jews and the Jewish state of Israel and Arab Muslims and these Arab Muslim countries that are opening up relations thanks to the Abraham Accords, which are historic in so many ways. But unfortunately, so many people don't like paying too much attention to the Abraham Accords, or giving thanks and appreciation to this process because of the people who really brought about the Abraham Accords in terms of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and President Trump. So for political reasons, people don't want to focus enough on the unbelievable societal changes that are taking place in this Middle East, and they still want to focus on the Palestinian Arabs and focus on the narratives of the lies and Israel being bad, instead of focusing, oh my God, no, there is possibility of a future for Jews and Muslims. It's happening thanks to the Abraham Accords. I was just like throwing in, like...
Which people are you talking about, though?
Oh,
the leadership here in the government here?
No, mostly media plays very little.
Oh.
Media and people on the street, people who believe what they read in the media. They don't pay as much attention to what to the historic seismic changes taking place here that you're talking about. It doesn't get as much attention from the press,
I think people
not
know.
Enough.
There's so much influx of Israelis. Like, I have a joke that half of Israel is now living in Dubai. and a lot of businesses are moving there, and there's like a lot of people going to Bahrain as well, and to Oman. There's like entire groups of Jewish people, Israelis, that are visiting Oman. I know it's not in the media and it's not so public, and also Saudi Arabia. It's happening.
Right, exactly.
People know. It's just like people are scared, and also I don't think it's okay at this stage for the media to give so much attention, because if so many Israelis start traveling to these countries, it can still be dangerous. So they let it like flow naturally, I think, but Israelis know. I'm telling you, there's like so many people traveling from here, Jewish people, to all these countries at the moment. It's not made a fuss about it, and I think it's still a transition period. So I think for the time being, it's safer to do it like this, and let the people spread on the ground, and bring the word with them.
No, I hear what you're saying.
I think it's better for now. For now, maybe in the future, it should be discussed. And I think if someone will be to change Middle East, and I'm talking to my friends and they don't believe me yet, but I know I'm right. I hope I'm right. That Saudi Arabia is going to change the Middle East. What bin Salman wants to do in the Middle East is amazing. I'm following all his interviews, everything he does, and if he will follow up on his word, I think the Middle East is going to look very different in 5 years from now. And I think his influence here can actually change something in our relation with the Arabs in Judea and Samaria.
Do you remember the conversation we had last week at the lunch table, where I don't remember who it was, but someone at the lunch table said that we were talking about the Temple Mount, and I was talking about how I firmly believe the second that the Jewish people and the Jewish state of Israel truly act as the sovereign on the Temple Mount, and that then gives the message to the Muslim world, oh, the Jews are back. They're owning their identity. They're not acting as foreigners, disconnecting from their heritage, from their culture, from their historic sites, and allowing freedom of worship for everyone on the Temple Mount like it's supposed to be. The second we do that, that's what's going to be one of the dominoes falling towards the development of peace, and not to be afraid of their threats of World War III. And someone else said, that is what I wanted to bring that up, believe it or not, the Jews reclaiming and acting as the true sovereign of the Temple Mount is going to help Islam. And this is tying into what you're saying in terms of what Saudi Arabia is trying to do, because the anti-Israel Palestinian narrative has co-opted Jerusalem to take a place in Islam that it doesn't have. Because the two major holy sites to Islam are Mecca and Medina. And this whole anti-Israel narrative is skewing the whole Muslim world to focus on Jerusalem, and it's hurting Islam and its centrality with Mecca and Medina. Because whether Jerusalem is holy or not, it's on a such lower level, nowhere to be close to Mecca and Medina. But the second we reclaim and act as the true sovereign on the Temple Mount, that's going to help strengthen Islam and strengthen Saudi Arabia's claim and as the sovereign of Mecca and Medina, and placing itself as the central leader of the Muslim world. Because non-Muslims don't understand this, but there is a conflict going on with the Muslim world because of the fight over Jerusalem between Turkey, between the Palestinian Authority, between Jordan. But yet Saudi Arabia is like, guys, they're like the little children fighting, and Saudi Arabia is the parents saying, this is Mecca and Medina, this is Islam. But the second we act as sovereign and basically stop the kids from fighting, stop Turkey and Iran and Jordan and the Palestinian Authority from fighting over Jerusalem, then that returns Islam to be its central place in strengthening Saudi Arabia as the mother of Islam in the world. So that's another perspective that someone mentioned when we were sitting there. That
very great perspective.
Isn't it?
I think maybe I think it's Yirmiyahu. I think I see him saying that.
Actually, I think it was Inon. It was Inon who said that.
Very smart, though. Very smart and very real approach.
Yeah.
And I agree.
Yeah, and totally real politic.
Yes, but I come to complete what he said. He's right, but I think this will never be obtained, like this effect will never be obtained if this comes from us. Like if we take the Temple Mount by force and we say, okay, now we're sovereign here, this is ours. It's going to have the opposite effect. It needs to come from them.
Interesting. I think it's only going to come from them if we're also doing our part. So, but it's it's different. It's different.
Yes.
There you go, everyone. You got to hear this amazing first-hand story from Selena. Really, it's not the media. It's not what we're being told, and it's her real-life experiences and her friendships, and that's what made the impact of her changing her mind. So, everyone, think. Use your God-given common sense. Look for things, think about things, and I hope you take away from hearing from Selena to better understand our reality today as well. So everyone, thanks so much for watching. Signing off for another episode of The Pulse of Israel here in our eternal and ancestral homeland, the land of Israel, in our eternal, beautiful, and biblical and indivisible capital, Jerusalem, since King David's time. Shalom, everyone.
Pulse of Israel, frontline videos from the Holy Land. Support our work by donating today.